Have you ever done an edible with Joey or no?
I don't know if I've done an edible with
tricked
Joey.
you with it?
And I'll tell you, I need to be in like a controlled environment because I could get paranoid with when I get high.
Yeah.
I definitely can't drive high.
He's crazy because we do live podcasts at the Ice House, and he drives me back because it's way too long. He'll do like 90, blasting music and just beeping at cops.
Oh wow,
it's terrifying.
It is terrifying, right? I mean, like I said, I'll probably get high like I don't know, 2-3 times a year if a friend of mine has something, because I just never, I'll drink. But I've never been. I just don't function that well. And I got friends that function very well. I have friends that I've been in the car with. As that friend is driving, they've like taken a hit and they keep driving, and they just get high every day, and it's no big deal to them, and they can function. Mm-hmm. I'm not good like that. Like I like if I get good, like if my friend brings some good friendly pot, then I can hang out and laugh. Yeah. But a lot of times, I'll start getting paranoid. Like, especially if it's got that little paranoid thing. Like, there's been times where, like, I was at a movie and I thought the chair was moving. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, Joey Diaz doesn't have friendly weed. So you don't really do anything that's to enhance your creativity. It's just you being you.
It's just me, man. I think what I do is I just try to go on stage. Like, first of all, one thing I learned early on was don't get drunk on stage, because if you do well drunk, you're going to think that's what I need. That's going to be my crutch.
You get superstitious? Or
not superstitious. You start going, oh, wow, I'm looser when I'm drunk, and this is how I'm going to work, right? So now every time I go on stage, I got to get drunk. Right? So two things. First of all, the one time I went on stage I was drunk was I'd been at dinner and like had some wine. And it was like a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night at the Comedy Store. So it was kind of like going in to do my 15-minute spot. And I went up there and I was just kind of loose and saying stuff. But it was funny because the audience wasn't laughing, but my friends were laughing in the back because they're like, look, he's fucked up, So that's when I realized, well, first of all, my mind wasn't working as fast as I wanted it to be.
Right.
And I wasn't doing what I necessarily wanted to. I was having fun, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't necessarily, I wasn't being as like where I needed to be with my head. I'm talking about like how I learned early on not to get drunk on stage. Because even if you have like, let's say you have 2 beers and you go up and you're like, oh, wow, I'm loose, this is great. And you kill it. Well, now I think to myself, the next time I go on stage, I got to have 2 beers to keep this going. As opposed to, I prefer going on, look, I'll have a glass of wine on stage or a glass of tequila or something. I'll have a bottle of water with me up there. 9 times out of 10, it's like I'm having some water and stuff as I go. And I just need to remind myself that I'm funny and creative without the whatever. Like with the water, I'm just good.
Yeah.
Because part of it is letting go. Part of it on stage is letting go. The Comedy Store helped me with that a lot. The original room at the Comedy Store, you were talking about Freddie Soto earlier. I remember early on at the Comedy Store, so I'd come from a series of bringer rooms where it was just 10 horrible comics, me being one of them. But I was always one of the funnier of the bad comics starting out in the bringer rooms, right? And I'd always have like 5 or 6 friends, and I would just do my set, and I would get more laughs than everyone else that was horrible. And so I left, like once I became a regular at the Comedy Store, I didn't realize that you're not doing a monologue. You got to be present in the room. So I'd go up at the Comedy Store when I first started out, and I would do my monologue. And now I have a room that's not a bringer room; it's customers, and they don't know who you are, and they're just staring at you. And then I remember I saw Vinny Favorito come up, and he used to do. It was material that he would talk to the audience, and it would seem like he was making it up as he was going, but it was material. But it seemed like he was making it up, and the audience felt like they were part of the show. And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Like, this guy's not doing a monologue. He's kind of doing material, but he's talking to them. And I remember one of the first times I let it go it was a late night, and there was like 2 employees and Freddie Soto sitting in the way back, and I never really met Freddie. I maybe said hi to him once. And I was the 145 spot, so I'm the last spot of the night. And there was these 2 nerdy dudes with this chick at the Comedy Store sitting on the booth to the right. And I went on stage. I started doing my set and just doing my jokes. And about 2 minutes in, I realized they're not into it. I'm not into it. I was like, I turned to those guys. I go, guys, forget my set. I'm just curious. How did you 2 end up with her? And it became a conversation. And then I started making fun of them, like, what's going on here? Like, and then we started having fun, and then I started riffing on stuff, and it was 15 minutes of just letting it all go. And then I came, as I was leaving, Freddie was sitting in the back, and I sat next to him, and he's like, hey, that was good stuff. You just, you went for it. I go, thanks. He goes, you're funny. I go, thanks. He goes, you know what? He goes, it's not about bits. He goes, you're either funny or you're not. If it's about a bit, and that's what makes you funny, then forget it. But you're either funny or you're not. And that's when I realized it's about being loose. And look, to this day, we all have situations where you tighten up. If I'm doing like a corporate event, I'm looking out and it's like a bunch of like 70-year-olds. I'm like, this is death. I got to do an hour with these people. Like, I know that, right? And all I'm thinking that whole time is maybe I do think, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have some tequila to relax, But most of the time, it's about being loose, and I think that's why, like for me, like I said, like I don't necessarily need, I don't take anything else to loosen up creatively. I just go on stage on a Tuesday at the Comedy Store and I go, look, I had a crazy day today, got in an argument with my wife. Let me talk about it a little bit on stage. Let me do some jokes that I know are jokes that are going to work, and then let me get into this bit about my wife.
Well, what's just scarier? Because I think I know the answer. Because for Joey talk about it. If you could do a 145 on a Tuesday at the Comedy Store in front of 2 people, or a room full of 70-year-olds when you're doing a corporate event,
I do the 145 is much better than the 70-year-olds. 145 is awesome. 145 on a Tuesday night at the Comedy Store is great because they know what's up, you know what's up, and whereas the corporate in front of the 70-year-olds is somebody's paying you good money to make them laugh the way, what happened? The sound?
No. He was asking me about Freddie Soto. Who was it?
Well, we can get into Freddie as well, but the corporate problem is what happens a lot of times with corporate events is the guy sees you somewhere and loves you, and he's like, I'm bringing him, but he doesn't think about his demographic. This guy himself might be 35 or he might be 70 and have a great sense of humor. But he doesn't think that this is like a whole other thing, and they're all in round tables, and first of all, they'll put a dance floor between you and them, so there's already 30, 40 feet. They may as well be on the other end of
fucking Jupiter.
Yeah, they're not paying attention.
Have you done them, Joey? I didn't think you would have done any of them.
Yeah.
What were they?
The one I did was so bad because that's what happened. I was at the New York Comedy Club. Honestly, I was 3 years in. I had 8 minutes of material. And they saw me on one of those days.
Yeah.
And they asked me what I wanted, and I said $1,500 without even knowing. I'd never been paid before, guys. We're going in like fucking Marines, you understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.